Hey, what's up, everybody? I am the Honest Bachelor. Welcome to the HB Half Hour. We actually don't have a co-host this week, so it's just gonna be me. I'm sorry. It has been a little bit since we filmed a show. Kind of a little hard to get stuff done during the summer, but also those of you that follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Periscope, you know that I had kind of a hiking accident recently, and it kind of put me out for a little bit. Still not 100%, but here I am. If you've never watched this show before, basically, we cover, or in this case, I cover 6 different topics. This week is history, opinion, news, entertainment, sex, and technology. If you want to be on the show, or if you have any comments that you want to get to me directly, or if you want to sponsor an episode, just email me, thehonestbachelor@gmail.com. If you want to support the show financially, links are below for Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Anything that you send just goes right back into the production of the show, and we really do appreciate it. It helps us grow this show a little bit more and, maybe not have to work quite as much. Without further ado, let's move on to the first topic, history. So for history, normally we cover a funny story. In this case, you're going to have to make the determination yourself whether or not you think that this is funny. I guess the end of it is, the sweet irony of it is, but other than that, it's kind of sad. So in World War II, the Russians, they were working on training dogs on blowing up German tanks. And so what they would do is they had one of their tanks out in a field, and they were trying to find a way to get the dog to drop off the bomb and then run back and then blow it up. So they're like, all right, maybe we'll starve them and then throw meat under there, and then they'll know that that's where they're going to go, so they're going to think that there's always meat under tanks. Okay, well, to fast forward a little bit of a problem. They only trained the dogs on running under Russian tanks. So then the dogs didn't know they were supposed to run under the German ones when it actually came to be game time. And so they let the dog loose, and then the dog ran right under a Russian tank, and I guess this happened several times, and then blew up the Russians. So sweet instant karma. Really, this could have been a very easily solvable problem. They could have just found a German tank and then practiced on that, but I guess, hindsight is always 20/20. All right, between topics, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, we are here to answer some questions. Do the tunnels connect inside? And the answer is no. The tunnels don't connect and drain out to the back. On this one, about 9 inches in, the tunnel connects like a U shape. When you wash this out, you want to make sure you flush it out completely. When you put the water in one hole, the water and the debris will come out the other. It doesn't matter which hole you flush, they're both the same. Just know that it's going to come out that other hole. It's ample, it's big, you can really grab onto it. You can position it, move it around, do different positions in the bedroom. Hell, you can go at it with a friend. Are the tunnels ribbed? And yes, inside here there are some ribs for added sensation in the vagina opening. The anal opening is smooth on that side of the tunnel. Can you submerge it in water? And the answer is no.
Alright, we're going to move on now to opinion. So for opinion, normally how it goes is I give my opinion on something, and I guess my opinion will kind of be sprinkled throughout this, but really this is an opinion I get really often from feminists or people that are extremely pro-choice. And I'm not trying to even interject my 2 cents about pro-choice versus pro-life here necessarily, really just work through the logical inconsistency of this statement that I hear all the time. And that statement is, and feel free to respond to this in the comments and tell me what you think. If men had babies, there would be an abortion clinic on every corner. And when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. I feel like men are convenient creatures. We do like things to be easily accessible, And then I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't even make any sense. If men had babies, there would be an abortion clinic on every single corner. You have to have a few assumptions for this to make sense to you. One of them is you have to believe that, as it stands right now, that men are getting women pregnant for sport. That's just something we love to do. We love to just impregnate women and run off. And not to say that doesn't happen, but I'm going to go ahead and venture to guess that it's not because that's something that they enjoy. Rather, it's just a guy making a mistake, I guess they're both making a mistake, and then the guy's just shirking his responsibilities. The other thing that you'd have to assume is that men see nothing wrong with abortion at all. Like 100% of men are for abortion, and the only reason they're for it is because they just like the idea of women being pregnant. Again, like for sport, they have no problem with abortion. They don't believe it's a baby being killed. They just want to control women. It operates under another assumption that men have never wanted to keep the baby. And then a woman got an abortion anyways. That you'd have to believe that. You'd have to believe that there's never been a situation where a woman said, "Yeah, I'm going to get an abortion." The guy's like, "Please don't. I want to keep the baby." You'd have to believe that's never happened. The last assumption that you'd have to make in order for that to make any sense is that for the guys that do stick around, they just love having kids and taking on that responsibility, and that's just an awesome thing for them to do. They just want to have as many kids as possible, with random women too, not even necessarily one woman. And I'm not even saying that doesn't exist. I'm sure there was a Law and Order SVU episode of that. I think John Stamos played a character that did that. But you'd have to believe that was mainstream, that was happening all the time. The dude's just having the financial responsibility of having a bunch of kids. There's also some NFL players do that too. I think Adrian Peterson has 18 kids with 10, 12 baby mamas, and a few basketball players have done that too. But generally speaking, regular people can't necessarily afford to do that. What it also implies is that if it weren't for men, then we'd be split 50-50. This is just a gender problem, that 100% of women want abortion and 100% of men don't. They want all women to have all babies all the time, which is obviously not true. It's almost 50% of women are pro-life, which would also say that 50% of women are pro-choice. And you'd also have to believe that the women that don't think my body, my choice, that they think that their body belongs to men, and that they don't believe that there's a baby in there. So these are all really crazy claims to be making by saying that if it was men having the babies, there'd be an abortion clinic on every corner. So my question is, who stands to gain the most from abortion being legal, right? So this idea is that men are against abortion as long as women are the ones that want it. But who stands to gain the most from abortions? Obviously, men do in a lot of circumstances. Now men can sleep, men love sleeping around. Now they can do that with pretty much no consequences. And they can have frivolous, consequence-free sex. And generally speaking, there are of course women where there's plenty of exceptions to this, but generally speaking, women aren't really into that as much, especially when it comes to getting pregnant. They don't want to have the baby of some loser idiot. And so, yeah, I'm not really buying this. The other thing is that women are the ones that are ultimately going to be making the tough decision if it does come down to an abortion. And men, if they're pro-life, they're not happy with the idea, but they're not actually the one going through the procedure and then dealing with the emotional consequences afterwards. So tell me what you think about that opinion of somebody else, that if men had babies, then there'd be an abortion clinic on every corner. I don't really understand that claim, and I've heard it a lot, and I never really thought about it until somewhat recently, of how insane that claim is. We're going to move on now to news. Speaking of claims, so climate change is something that we hear about all the time, and pollution, and make sure you recycle, all that kind of stuff, and that's good, that's great. So California, specifically cities throughout California, and I think even Seattle, don't quote me on that, they decided they were finally going to do something about it, and they decided, what, we need to ban straws. We need to get rid of these straws. And it's not even the ban that I find bizarre, because any progress is progress, I guess, but it's the punishment that comes with it. So in Santa Barbara, let's just say you have a store and you give a straw to a customer, and then you get reported by some narc. It comes with a warning at first, and they say, hey, no straws. This is a straw-free zone. Go suck somewhere else. But if you do it a second time, it comes with a fine ranging from $100 to $1,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Now, just like with gun control, there's a lot of people that you're like, well, if you make guns illegal, then criminals are still going to get guns. Criminals don't obey the law. Obviously, this is going to create a black market for straws because straw lovers will find a way to get their straws.
It's not the same. I can't do it. Hey, yo, man. I can't do it anymore. I need it.
Meet me at the spot.
Okay.
Yeah, Melania, good.
Yo,
Dude, what's up?
dude, I need it.
Oh, yeah. See,
I'm crazy.
I'm good. You ain't got
No, come on, man.
You ain't got no wire, dude.
I'm good.
Alright. Let me tell you what I got. I got the new trendy Bendy. The new Bendy trendy.
No.
I got the Snow White.
No, regular shit.
You want the American flag? I got you.
Yeah. Come on, look it up. Come on.
Okay, can move on to the next story. So, I've never been to Paris. I don't know if any of you guys have, so leave in the comments below if this is accurate. But a lot of my friends that come back from Europe, Paris specifically, they say that the whole place smells like pee. And I guess this is a real problem because Paris finally decided to do something about it. And they installed sidewalk urinals so that you can just whip it out whenever and pee in a urinal. And so here's a guy with actually a nice view. A nice view of the river and just peeing into this urinal and looking at a boat full of people. It does look like it's got some decent privacy. As long as you're not one of those dudes that whips it out like five. What is that about sports stadiums where guys like whip it out 5 feet before and like swing it around before? Only guys can obviously relate to this, but it's a weird thing that's kind of exclusive to sports stadiums. Anyways, yeah, it looks like it has decent privacy. I imagine the biggest controversy is feminists are going to be really upset, and then they're probably going to have to take the top off of this and then make it so that women can also use them as well. So yeah, I guess that's one solution. And we do need this in particular places. I just read a report about San Francisco. They walked about 150 blocks of downtown, right in the middle of San Francisco. Apparently they found like 500 pounds of poop and trash on every corner and like 100 needles. Really crazy. So maybe this is on its way to the United States. We can only hope. Okay, so we're going to move on to entertainment. I don't remember, actually, if I've mentioned this in a previous episode, but Miss Universe, I believe it's Miss Universe, decided that they're no longer going to have a swimsuit or lingerie part of the competition. They wanted to include women of all shapes and sizes. And, that's great. I will say that there's never going to be a time, I guarantee there's never going to be a time that a fat, unattractive woman, and when I say unattractive, I just mean conventionally, facially unattractive woman, is ever going to win Miss Universe. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to change anything. Just you're giving participation trophies to other people. The other thing is it even necessary? Because I decided, I was like, you know what? I feel like there's a place for other women, like non-traditionally attractive women, for them to also compete in beauty pageants. And lo and behold, there is. And so here's some of the weirder beauty competitions out there. Yeah, so if you have a less than attractive face, there is they call that a butter face, if you have everything good but your face. In this case, everything can be bad but your legs. So I guess they'd be butter legs. And so if you have really hot legs, let's just say you have the body of Gru from Minions, but you have excellent legs, then this is the competition for you. Another one, let's just say that you're insanely ugly and you look like an alien. I would guess that these are actually people dressing up as Klingons, but if you just so happen to look like a Klingon, I imagine that's going to be extra credit, extra points, just for being au naturel. And so there's a competition for you, Miss Klingon Empire. Okay, and then, so here's another one. So, like I said before, I don't see that there's ever going to be a time where there's going to be just a morbidly obese winner of Miss Universe, and there doesn't need to be. Because in Thailand, they have a Miss Jumbo Queen competition. And this is specifically for contestants weighing between 175 and 300 pounds. Okay, here's one this one's called Miss Tiffany Universe. And this is for, specifically, it's in Thailand for transgender people, which seems to roll into the next one pretty well. I know I'm probably going to get some heat for this one, but they already have that, and it's called the Miss Plastic competition, which really is just a competition for the plastic surgeons and then the model. This is just their model for their resume, and this awards the best plastic surgery that money can buy. So this one's terrible. This is to raise the awareness of landmine survivors. It's held in Angola. I don't know if it's held annually, but it was at least held once. And this is for the hottest and most lovely personalitied women that have survived landmines. I feel like that's very niche, but I don't know. Maybe women are getting blown up in Angola all the time, which is horrible. Okay, last one. So in Brazil, they hold a Miss Penitentiary competition for women that are held in 10 different prisons. So they have 10 different prisons compete against each other. And so, like, let's just say that you're competing for Miss Brazil, you don't quite make it, just go commit a felony and end up in prison, and then you can compete in this competition, at least win something. All right, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for the beauty pageants. Now, this I love, and I don't know why this song is so complicated to people. The song is called Respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. Respect when I get home. Okay, well, anyways, it says it in the song. You know what it is. You hear her spell it out. But for some reason, Al Sharpton, who has a pretty long history of struggles with teleprompters, but I don't think he can blame this one on the teleprompter. Check this out.
And while we're talking about female canines, you know what they say about payback? It's a real, well, I'm sure you know the word I'm thinking of. So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some R-E-S-P-I-C-T.
All right, that's going to do it for entertainment. We're going to move on now to sex. Okay, so this is, I was like, all right, well, what's a weird sex story? There's got to be something out there. And of course I find something. And this really messes up my search history. It just is. This computer, I'm going to have to get a new one soon. So make sure that you support the show, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, to help in the inevitable time when I'm going to have to replace this computer, because it's probably just going to spontaneously combust at some point. But this story is about a woman in Vero Beach, and she was arrested after she allegedly stabbed her boyfriend in the eye when he refused to request to have a threesome with another woman. So basically what happened is she went out to the club, she brought a girl home, and the boyfriend was asleep, they started doing stuff together, and she tried to wake up the boyfriend, and he's like, no, I'm tired. And then she stabs him in the left eye. And to that I say, good, he deserved it. What kind of a dude rejects a threesome? Again, another example of just instant karma. Wonderful. Okay, next story. So I don't know if you guys have ever been to Planet Fitness, but Planet Fitness, they have like the no lug heads. It's a judgment-free zone. Like, don't groan when you set down weights. You can look disgusting and all that kind of stuff. And if anyone makes fun of you, whatever, then you get kicked out. It's a judgment-free zone, and it's plastered everywhere. Well, a certain man decided, you know what, if this is truly a judgment-free zone, then they're going to let me walk around nude, obviously. Well, he got judged hard, really hard. So really, this is a tragedy. This is all about the victim here, which is obviously the guy who went to have a judgment-free naked workout and got judged by everybody. And I guess he got kicked out. They refused to let him continue to work out, which is just bull. Maybe I would understand it if he wasn't cleaning the machines afterwards with the swass and all the other additional sweat that would have been soaked up by his clothes. And if that ends up being the truth, then yeah, he's not the victim. That's BS. But otherwise, obviously this guy should have been allowed to work out naked, because if Planet Fitness is truly a judgment-free zone, this should have been allowed. And leave in the comments if you disagree. Okay, now for the final topic, technology. Now, I found this kind of by accident, but there's just, I don't know what it is about this video that disturbs me so much. Maybe it's just the awkward nature of it. Maybe it's I don't know why his son is there with his different colored collar, just standing there awkwardly. Or maybe, and you'll see this, it's the immense variations of poops and the description of poops that are shown and disposed of in this commercial. So this is the Pooch Power Shovel.
Hi, I'm Tori.
And I'm Connor.
And we're co-founders of Pet Power Products. Today we're proud to introduce the Pooch Power Shovel. Finally, you can clean up your whole backyard in one clean sweep. Once you buy the Pooch Power Shovel, you'll never have to scoop the poop again. You just go up, press the button. As any dog owner knows, dogs deliver waste in many sizes, shapes, and textures. That's why we spent over 2 years developing the Pooch Power Shovel. Pooch Power Shovel will handle any situation on any surface. After you're done picking up the backyard, pull back on the handle, give it a tug, and as we like to say,
Just suck it and chuck it.
good job.
Like, why did they have to show so many poops? I don't understand. We got the idea after like 1 or 2. You didn't need to show 10 different poops on 10 different textures of land. Totally unnecessary. With that said, I don't know how much this is, but I might have to get it, honestly, because it ruins my morning every single morning. I have a couple dogs, and it's awful. It's just the worst part of my morning. I hate it. It really sucks. So this isn't a bad idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It's a great idea. But the commercial's just very gross. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the HB Half Hour. I promise these are going to come more often. I'm actually going to edit a show that was made previously for you guys. So you'll see that actually after the fact. It'll be a little bit out of order in the topics. You're probably going to be like, yeah, that happened a long time ago. But I think it's a good show and that it's worth putting out there. Make sure you check out all the other episodes. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. If you love the show or have any input for it, make sure you leave that in the comments or send me an email, thehonestbachelor@gmail.com. And then monetarily, if you want to support the show, right here, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, pretty much The Honest Bachelor and all those. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Hopefully I have James on the show in additional weeks to come. That's at Amos Blackman if you want to follow him. He's been getting a lot of different gigs, acting and stuff like that. He's a very funny dude, funny comedian. If you want to see him, just check out previous episodes, see what you're missing. That's going to do it. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.